Cool. Right, back to this bloke again. Okay, we'll try that again. I'm going to turn perspective 3D off for this track because I think that's partially what's making a problem, and also the watermarking here might be making a problem as well. I'm going to turn interactive mode on. I'm going to make a selection and I'm going to remove all of these points. Now we don't have any tracking points on the watermarking, and now I'm going to track forwards. And it's pretty good. I'm just going to take interactive mode off. I'm just going to shift the whole thing back a little bit. So we used interactive tracking to make sure that the watermarking there didn't interfere with the track, and that's fine. Let's just check and make sure it still matches. Cool. We'll put a green flag on there as well. And it's just going back to copy, paste and track. Try and avoid spilling over too much so we don't get a visible halo. And once again, let's just see how this one goes. Interactive mode, we'll get rid of any tracking points over the watermark, and then track forwards. That was easy. And again. Okay, these all edit together nicely. We'll put a green flag on those. That I'm actually really happy with. There are two faces here. I'm not going to track them both. I'm not going to do anything to that. I'm actually happy with it. I'm actually happy with that as well. How does he move? This guy is pretty important in this company, so we are going to put a little bit more emphasis on him when we can. What we'll do is we'll just bring him back to the kind of ruddy looking self he is. Cool. Okay, this dude again. We've already done this. And there's a lot of box checking in our second pass. Our first pass is where we do the bulk of our work. It's very common for the first pass to take the most time. That's when you're actually instating a look. If you have a lot of rotoscoping to do, the second pass can be very time consuming indeed. But in this case, we don't have a lot of roto, and the first pass is where we spent most of our time. So we don't have a huge amount of work to do in our second pass. We're just going through and making sure things are matching up nicely. He's maybe a touch yellow in there. So we might just move that along a little bit, and what we will do, make sure our blue is blue and not cyan. That's hue v sat, I want hue v hue. Common mistake. And we'll just make sure that we keep that nice blue there. Now let's see how this edits, make sure it's not too jarring. Okay, I think that is pretty good. Or is he? Nope, that's fine. Cool, I'm pretty happy with that. This is B-roll, so I'm not going to bother with a face vignette here. I don't think it's necessary. These four are okay. I will place a green flag on there. As you get more confident, you don't need to flag and go along as you work. I find in complex projects where I'm dealing with a lot of highly specific feedback, the green flag shot by shot is actually really important and really practical and helpful. But we will, for this, just for the time being, we're going to try and develop good working habits. Okay, this guy's doing well, but our blue is still cyan, so what we will do is our same old trick. We will get the cyans and we will shunt them along to make them a bit bluer. We don't want them to go purple, just be careful. Sometimes when things appear to be aligning with blue, we have a lot of things just above here which are actually going purple and magenta. So we want about there, that's fine. This again. And we've already done this, I believe. Or am I wrong there? Have we not yet dealt with a close-up of this contributor in second pass? Yep, that's what we have. Just bring that in, make sure the feather doesn't make a halo. Let's just track and see what happens. Cool, definitely needs a bit more contrast there. Nice. Got our board director again. Cool. Now, we have a timeline issue here. This is our graphic that fades in and then fades out. So we're going to go back to the timeline to fix this. We missed this in our first pass, and it's fine, we can put it right. All we need to do is copy and paste. Copy and paste in DaVinci Resolve is a bit awkward, so we have two versions of it. Now, just put the player in the right place. Okay, so now we have two versions of this. I'm going to make a cut here and a cut here as well. So, we now have two versions of this clip and they both have the grade on them. If we take a close look, we can see that now we have several clips here within Resolve. So what we want to do is remove this clip from its group. Now we want to remove the top clip. This clip we want to remove from its group, and that clip we also want to remove from its group. So we're going to go back in and we're going to remove that from its group. And what we're going to do is add that into the group for close-up of the woman in the white shirt. Hopefully not knock the microphone over whilst doing so. Right, now here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn this opacity down to 0 so that the bottom clip shows, and that has our clip, and that has our, let me find the right word, that has our grade on it for our board director. We're going to hit this diamond here and place a keyframe, and then we're going to go to the point where the graphic is completely visible and our board director is vanished. And then we're going to place another keyframe and turn our opacity up to 100%. What we have here is the clip with no grade on top of the clip with the grade fading in as we fade to the graphic, and it cheats the effect and makes the transition quite simple. Then we're going to remove this from every group entirely. Let's just make sure we have the right. Okay, so we're going to remove that from its group, and we're going to add this into the Now what we're going to do is make that disappear, and then we're going to go to the end, place another keyframe, make it fade in, and now the group, now the clip, now the grade even, it's late now, now the grade is going to fade in, so now we have that fading in. Now when we go back and we see this, our grade appears to fade out here, and it does not interfere with the graphic, and then the grade appears to fade back in with the crossfade here, and that's fine. So just to go over that again, what we've done is we've basically made two versions of this clip and stacked it on top of itself. Underneath we've left the grade on the top we've taken the grade off, then we've made the ungraded version fade on as the graphic comes on to make the grade basically go away and no longer interfere with the clip below. And then we've made a graded version of that clip fade in at the end so that it naturally transitions into the close-up of the woman in the white shirt there. We can now remove the purple flag from all of these, and we're happy from this point to this point, and we'll just give that a big green flag, and we're okay there. Cool. And now we go back to dealing with this clip the way we have done before, so we'll go back. The light has changed a little bit on this one, so what we might just do is bring the mids up slightly. It was a little bit dark there, and that'll be fine. And now we're back to this guy, so we'll copy the face vignette on again. This is another one that might be a little bit awkward. Let's just get this sorted. So that, I'm just going to bring the shadows down a smidge, and I'm going to give that a green flag. I'm happy with that. And these two also. Things are just a little bit yellow here. That's a little bit pink now, so we'll just bring that down. I'm going to bring these shadows down slightly and make it a little bit more grounded so we keep that kind of grounded look, and I think just bring that down, and we might just suck some of the colour out of the reds to keep it back under control. But I kind of like the way that edits. Let's just check that. Still a little bit bright, isn't it? Let's just bring the highlights down. We don't want it to look artificially quashed, but we'll just bring that down a little bit. That's much better. Cool, I'm happy with that now. I will put a green flag on that one. Let us just see how this edits together. Okay, we're going to definitely need some attention in the shadows and some noise reduction on this shot, but we will take care of that in the third pass. Things look a little bit yellow here. Okay, I think that's good. Might just pull a little bit of the colour out again. His beard's a little bit coppery looking. Cool, there we go. This shot is more or less okay. It needs attention in the third pass. I'm going to put a yellow flag on there, so we'll come back to that in the third pass. This shot I'm okay with now. Green flag. We'll just copy that across, and then we will track. That's a long shot, so let's just take a look at that in full. See if we can spot any halos around the face, just in case our mask slipped loose when he was moving. Nope, that looks fine to me. Okay, I've got a bit of basic track to do here. I was going to make this part of the wall bluer just by tracking a simple shape onto it. So I'll do that first. There we go, and now that's a much better match for the blue it was in the other shot. Now what I will do is I will do a bit of a face track. The client hasn't picked out the cheese plant in the background, so I'm not too concerned by it. I don't think it's too distracting, especially once I add some contrast to this face. We should be fine. There's a very important difference between obsessing over minute details and delivering the polish that the project needs. And it's always important that we maintain perspective on what's really important here. If we just go and pour an hour into rotoscoping these leaves out, then that's a waste of time. Whereas if we make the wall match and we make the face look good, that's a much better use of time. I'm going to bring the face highlights down slightly because we're starting to get a bit of clipping. Cool, that's good, that's looking good. I will now save. And I'm going to grab a still because that's going to be important for later. I'm going to clear flag and I'm going to place green flags on these three. Okay, now all I'm really doing here is matching up the face, and that's going to be a face vignette, so I want to get that highlight back. But I don't want that to be too extreme. I think that's pretty good. That highlight isn't quite the same. I'm just going to add a little bit of and I might just try and cheat the highlight with the log wheels here. Oh, you know what, that's a stupid idea, never mind. I might just bring the saturation back up. Let's see how that edits. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. In both cases, there's an issue that I've noticed, and that's we've got some daft looking areas of saturation in the ears and up the nose there, so we're just going to fix those with a HSL. Got oversaturation in our shadows, we're just going to bring those down. There we go. There we are. And then in our group setting here, we're going to do the same. Do a HSL for those areas. Just bring those down. Not that's too much. I can see some grey. Just bring those down a bit so they don't glare out. And we'll save. Cool. Right, now let's see how these two edit together. I'm pretty happy with that. Definitely need some noise reduction. Cool. A few more. I'm going to have to roto that wall out, and maybe in these shots as well. In fact, from this point onwards, it's just contributors to deal with. So I'm just going to now, I said I was going to try and take care of the bluish tinge we had in the beard and the hair here, so let's see if we can pull some colour out of these shadows. Inside this face vignette, so there we go. So now we've made his beard black again, whereas before there's some kind of blue interference here that you could see. Still a little bit there. Let's just there we go. Now we've taken care of the slight blue in his beard and his hair. Okay, let's see if we can make this blue curve a little bit better. Cool, so we'll track another face vignette. We'll do interactive tracking again. And we'll make sure we have nothing sticking to the watermarking. Just bring that up, make sure it's consistent between the two. His beard doesn't look like a problem here. On balance, I'm now not really that concerned by the grey shoulders on the shirt here. I don't think people are going to notice it that much unless it's been pointed out to them. Let's just see how it edits. No, that's fine. There's such a strong focus on his face, I just don't think you really noticed it unless it were pointed out. So we'll go ahead and we'll fix this. Yeah, okay, we should do that here. We can probably just copy and paste this over from this shot because it's doing the same two things. Let's just make sure that our shape here is correct. We'll just feather the insides and outsides a bit and track. And then the face vignette. Yep, definitely adds a bit of focus on that face, that's cool. Right, we'll just go through and take care of these. Okay. This is a one-off shot. I would say some of the shadows here look a little bit wonky, look a little bit saturated. So I'm going to go into that and I'm going to bring the shadow saturation down just a little bit. Stop that kind of weird, warm, glowing effect we have in some of our shadows. Cool. And now let's just take a look. Yep, definitely need a vignette there. And we'll just take a still and we'll use that to make sure we get the face just so. Okay, the face is a little bit red here. Could also do with a bit more saturation. And we need to fix the lips again. Cool, now let's just see how we're going. Okay, we're beginning to get a clipping red channel there, so we'll tone it down a bit and we'll bring our saturation down as well. Actually, maybe we won't bring our saturation down. Okay, this one needs a bit more work. Just add a little bit of yellow to the mids, a little bit of pink to the highlights there, and we'll bring the saturation back up a little bit. And we're just going to make sure those lips don't look silly. We're just going to keep that under control. Right, let's see how this edits. Okay, good. Okay, maybe it's a little bit saturated. Okay, good. I think that's consistent. This one seems a little bit duller for some reason. We'll just bring the highlights in the face up a little bit. Cool. That's nice and consistent now. We're going to put green flags on these 6. Right, we're getting there. Only got a few left to go. In the case of this shot, it's going to be a simple face vignette. We'll see if her eyes become too distracting. Cool, I'm just gonna those eyes are a bit piercing now, aren't they? Tell you what I will do is I'll bring the blues within this face vignette down a little bit. There we go. Right, onto the close-up. Things in the background there are a little bit red in comparison. So I've got an idea of what we can do, and it involves, yep, a face vignette. Again, that's mostly what we've been doing here is a vignetting pass. But what I can also do is use that to fix a few things. So we'll just make a still for comparison. Okay, that's cool. I also need to bring the blues up because her eyes aren't quite as strong this time. Maybe rotate the cyan and the green towards the blue. Be quite aggressive because they're small areas. Okay, cool. I'm going to hit Alt and O, make an outside node, and now things outside of that face vignette are a little bit red. I want them to be a little bit more yellow, so I'm just going to outside that vignette, make things very slightly more yellow, including her hair, because she's got quite a nice blonde colour here, and it's a little bit pink here due to the skin curve I used before. No. There we go. And that wall matches up nicely as well. Maybe the neck's going a bit yellow. We could try and stretch that down a bit. See how that moves, not very much. So now her neck is spared the yellowing effect as well. Cool. And we know what we're doing here. And here, once more. Just trying to avoid it going off the edge of the face. Okay, that's fine. Bit of a yellow line there where it's not quite in the right position. Cool. And we will get this face vignette sorted. Just dotting I's and crossing T's now. We're very nearly there. Okay, we're going to need to keyframe this one. We're just going to put automatic keyframing on for everything this time. Speed things up a bit. Add a dynamic keyframe. I'll add a keyframe here, so then we'll go to where it deviates. Put that back. Where it deviates there. Then right to the end. And fix that deviation there as well. Turn keyframing off. Now let's just take a look at this and make sure we can't see any halos. Cool. fix that as well. We've got a bit of a yellow seam down here. Still a bit of a yellow seam. Cool. Save. Excellent, that's all looking nice and matched up now. We'll just move on and we'll get these done, seeing as we're in the mood. Okay, very nearly there. Just save, make sure. Not going to crash. I've had crashes at this point before. Just want to make sure we're not going to lose any work. Okay, final stretch. Got 4 more shots left of... Oh, spoke too soon. Just got a few contributor shots left. Okay, let's just make sure that this doesn't produce a halo. Okay, that'll be fine. Cool. And we will just finish off here. We're going to need to keyframe that to clean it up. Okay, we'll add a keyframe there. And we'll make sure that that's back on track. Back on track again. That's fine. We want to make sure that that's okay. Right, let's just watch this through, see if we can spot any halos. That's fine. That just needs a little bit of keyframing at the end there. We'll go back and turn keyframing off on the last shot now that we remember. So let's just add a keyframe there. We'll make sure that that's okay. Okay, we'll add a keyframe there, and then when it deviates, we'll then drag it back. Let's try and get a bit more of the face included. There we go. So let's watch that through, see if we can spot any halos. Excellent. Okay, we now have a few shots left of this contributor. Let's just go back and get a still from the CU. Fairly simple. Need to remember to go into interactive tracking. Need to remember to go into interactive tracking mode, I say actually facing the microphone. And make sure we don't have any tracking points on the watermark. And then track through. Okay, looks like that could result in a halo. Let's just watch it through. There we go. Okay, we'll just shift that over here a little bit. Cool. Right, we're on the final shot now. Once we've sorted this shot, we're at the end of second pass. Let's just check that through, see if we can find any halos. Okay, excellent. Right. I would call that the end of a second pass. We'll go back and put green flags in all of this. So I've got 2 yellow flag shots to deal with, this one and this one in the third pass. I'm going to render this out. I'm going to send this on to my client. I'm going to say this is very close now. If you have any problems, tell me now and I can fix them. And I've got a few known issues. I've got this shot and I've got the other shot I know I need to fix. I'm going to go through, I'm going to pay attention to coloured noise in the shadows, and then we're going to do some denoising. But that's pretty much it. We're approaching the end of this project now. We've done quite a comprehensive first pass, and now we've got our fine match and our face vignettes and everything done. It's in a pretty good place. It's very nearly finished, so we're going to move on and just finish this in a third pass, and the third pass isn't going to take as long as the second or the first in this case. We've got 2 shots to deal with, and then we're mostly going through and adding noise reduction. So we're going to go over a little bit about noise reduction. Now, that is a paid feature of Resolve. It's a very powerful paid feature of Resolve, but if you don't have it, don't worry. You can still finish this project. It just won't have the NR included. So click on through to the next lecture when you're ready.